Here in the foothills of the Andes Mountains in Argentina, close to the border with Chile, lies an area rich in culture and agriculture. It is a fertile crossroads for the old and new worlds, for Europe and Latin America. French winemakers are here, making sophisticated wines for several decades from Argentina's famous Malbec grapes. Now a new bunch of vintners has arrived to try their hand in the vineyards. But this group is less interested in farming than in friendship.
This is mood music to inspire the vines.
It's beautiful music.
What
is it, Italian?
Tango.
It is a group which started at INSEAD's Challenge of Leadership Executive course in 2009 and still gets together every year. In 2012, they met in Frankfurt. Tuan Knipping is one of the key members of this group, which decided starting a wine business would be an even better way to stay in touch.
What I noticed when I was in INSEAD was that it was very nice to have a group of friends that are from a totally different background, but facing the same type of issues that I'm facing, and interacting with them in a more meaningful way than once a year coming together and having a couple of beers.
They named it after the course, COL Wines. The wine itself would be Alpasion. The label bears the fingerprints of each early investor.
What we wanted with this project is really to make a project that stands out from the crowd, not make the cheapest wine possible and sell it for the highest possible price, but we wanted to make the best possible wine. That's also why we wanted to be organic and why we wanted to be a high quality product.
So it was my idea to start with at a small restaurant in Barbizon, at a meeting, at a dinner after a full day session at the COL coursework. I think both INSEAD and Manfred and Sudi here through the coursework really push you to think about what's important to you, family, your life, not just business.
I think it's a very nice project. And I think also I'm very impressed by the, it's not a superficial project. It's done, I mean, from a business point of view, it's taken very serious. I'm quite impressed by that.
The initial investors joined early. All had similar investment goals, and money was not number one.
I tried to put some financial projections together and basically decided that it really wasn't worth it because it's going to be more than 5 years before stuff starts paying back, and there's so many different variables. You just know it's a long-term project.
So it was a challenge for me, more than a financial investment. We all think that we can only act and make things happen in our own field, whereby here we went to something outside the box for all of us.
Yeah, I look at it as though we're farmers at this point.
The cost of entry wasn't cheap, around $50,000 US per share. Some put in more at the start.
I felt an obligation, still feel an obligation to make sure there's sufficient funds to get the project going. The people that would choose to be involved with us would be people that would have a similar sentiment around the project, a similar lifestyle desire.
Next, a project manager was appointed, Gabby Soto, a longtime associate of Tuan's.
I kind of manage the whole team in Mendoza, so make sure that they're all working in a coordinated way. And then I also act as intermediate between the investors and the people in Mendoza. And I also do all the marketing for the group. I'm also an investor myself. My father's an investor, my aunt is an investor, one of my best friends is also an investor. So yeah, it's not only a job for me.
But where would this winery actually take root? There were many visits and discussions before deciding on Argentina.
I was one of the 3 musketeers that went there for the first time. In fact, we first went to Portugal. So I almost convinced them to invest some money in Portugal, which would be good for the country. So we first went to Alpasion, and then we end up going to Argentina, which is funny because none of us is from South America. So it's like the place which is far away for everybody, which is good.
Well, I arrived in Mendoza with a bag and a hotel reservation and nothing more, and the dream of a few people. And 3 months later, 4 of them came to see a little bit of what I had already seen. And yeah, we chose a property that's at the foothills of the Andes, which is absolutely amazing.
Today, the COL Wines headquarters sits on 85 hectares of land, 60 of which will be planted. It's an 1,150 square meter house, and the decor reflects the values and goals of the company and its investors.
It's from, I believe it's Kazakhstan, and basically when a woman gets pregnant, she starts making this for the daughter. And they start by writing the year, and it takes them almost the whole full 9 months. So the idea is to finish it when they give birth, or when they are about to give birth. And the story behind it kind of caught my attention because it's a little bit similar to what we try to do here.
The original business plan is mounted on the wall and has come a long way since Tuan created it.
What we were toying with a lot was how do you divide the ownership? But in this original plan, we were still selling shares that were directly related to a piece of land. And then people would surrender part of their grapes in exchange for all the services that we would share. And the original house, as it was drawn here, would have 4 very simple rooms and a shared meeting and wine tasting room. Every time we made our plans more ambitious, and that's how, from the original business plan, not much survived. It's about the idea, and then it's the execution that takes the rest of your life.
Even though grapes are yet to be harvested here, COL Wines has produced its first wine, a 2011 full-bodied red Malbec, which won 90 points from the prestigious wine critic Robert Parker. COL's winemaker, a young Argentine of Lebanese descent, insists on the old-fashioned way, starting with his fermentation tanks.
Well, this is the tank number 23. These small concrete tanks are, for me, the heart of the winemaking process. These very thick concrete walls permit to keep the temperature more stable and constant. These concrete tanks are more horizontal, are very shallow and very long. The surface contact between the skins and the juice is wider, it's bigger. So we have a very natural and spontaneous extraction from the skins to the juice, not abusing for any chemical or mechanical system.
We chose him because he was relatively young and he seemed to have ideas that were less conventional than those of the other winemakers we met. And he seemed very eager, and it proved so far to be a good choice because he was relatively unknown when we first went into business with him 3 years ago, and his fame has been rising in the meantime.
Karim learned the wine business from his father and transfers his passion to these old oak barrels where the wine is aged.
For me, if you have the chance to put a wine into a barrel, it's the best place where a good wine can be. It's like a baby in the arms of the mother. A barrel full of wine is the best thing that happened in a winery.
The COL Wines agronomist, Guillermo Cachiaguera, is already buying plants for the first real vintage.
Tenemos que ver en una planta que tenga buen vigor, que tenga muchos brotes y que se presente. Por ejemplo, esta planta tiene pocos brotes, está un poco amarilla y no presenta buen aspecto. Y en cambio esta tiene más brotes, hojas de mejor color, mejor tamaño. Entonces tenemos que fijarnos en las plantas que tengan buena calidad, buen color en los brotes y buena calidad y cantidad de brotes.
But to fill these barrels with COL Wines' own grapes will take more than passion and hard work. There's the issue of water. Established vineyards in the region have long had access to water, but COL Wines is a bit off the beaten track. Ramiro Marcassini is a wine consultant and chief operating officer for COL Wines.
The region of COL Wines is pretty new. One of the main effects or influence we have in the grapes is the Andes, because the weather is pretty wild and it produces a strong effect in the grapes. Historically, we start planting vineyards where the water flows naturally. COL Wines was a selected place We think that is a place, the better place in the world to plant grapes. So I think the success is waiting.
More than 100 other properties are waiting for permission to dig wells here. There is already a well on the COL Wines property, but it was never made operational by the former owners. Applications to the Regional Water Authority for a permit to dig a new well met with veiled requests for additional payments.
There's no way we will ever pay anyone. Giving into a system that is bad makes you a collaborator and never makes you any better yourself.
Me being from Venezuela, I can understand it, although I've never been involved in that type of things, and I'm very happy to see that the investors are not willing to pay anyone because it would really damage the project on a value basis.
A new water administration and new laws did not prove helpful immediately, but a subsequent meeting did produce a strategy from COL Wines' legal advisor.
They already have a well that doesn't work properly, but they can activate it. The law says that you have to use the water, not how many water you're going to use. So my advice is go for it. Work on the existing well.
So what are you going to do?
Try to make the existing well work ASAP, and preferably before the new regulations are widely known. Yes.
Maybe considering giving up?
No, we never give up.
Concentrated efforts by Gabby Soto and a team of engineers finished the property's existing well and found water, enough to water some vines and enough to satisfy the authorities to grant permission to dig a new well. Another hurdle crossed. But there is still a lot to do before COL Wines can claim success. One opportunity is to ride the commercial development wave sweeping through the region. The Uca Valley is already a center for wine tourism. International real estate developers are sniffing around. Can COL Wines rise to these challenges?
Twan is, as an entrepreneur as he is, has been extremely instrumental. I mean, the man is an entrepreneur and he gets things done.
We think it will be success in a number of ways. We're confident that the property that we own will continue to increase in value as the Uca Valley and as the wines from Argentina become more popular. So we're confident that the real estate part of it is going to be a home run.
Most of all, COL Wines has a strong structure. It's friends. It's about friendship. Many crazy people together are developing this crazy project in a very, very special place.
COL Wines was founded on a strong basis of friendships formed at INSEAD. It's been an experience that has changed all of them.
I went from working for a subsidiary of BNP Paribas for 16 years to running my own business, which I've been doing now for 2 years, just after the end of the course, in fact.
I went to INSEAD with some expectations about getting better, and so I think that it provided me first of all some humility, which I think it's not easy.
It makes you believe in yourself and makes you think that what you can realize is not only things that you only know and in only your profession and things that you've been doing for years.
I'm so happy that as a result of this INSEAD course, I ran into those beautiful people and that we got the opportunity to do such a wonderful project together.
Like fine wines, these people have themselves gone through a maturation process, distilling their past experiences to create their own vision of the future. It's a future we can all share.
You know, part of our story is our story of getting together at INSEAD and making this wine a couple of years later. You have to be confident in your dream. The numbers don't always perfectly add up. You know, trust your emotions a bit, and hopefully this will be a financial success. I think it's already an emotional success for us.